everybody, Marco Carbajo here from businesscreditblogger.com. Today's video, we're going to talk about how to lower your business credit card APRs and credit card fees. So this is a video, you definitely want to watch it for your existing business credit cards and even your personal credit cards. We're going to share with you strategies on how to lower that interest rate. So let's get started. Okay, so first and foremost, last week we talked about two things on the previous video. We talked about how to pull cash from business credit cards at 0% APR. We share with you the balance transfer strategy, and that's something you definitely want to take advantage of, and check out that video right here if you haven't watched that yet, because this video is kind of a segue into that, where we're going to expand on. In that previous video we talked about what about your existing cards? What if you can't get a balance transfer card? Or what if you want to lower your interest rates on your existing credit cards rather than opening up a new credit card? So this is a strategy that many people underutilize, and we're going to talk about how to lower your existing business credit cards and or personal credit card interest rates, your APRs. And we're going to share with you those credit card fees that you incur, how to actually lower them or actually have them eliminated off your credit cards. So this is a very, very powerful video for you, because this is a very underutilized strategy. It's a very simple strategy. It's not revolutionary, but it's something many people, many card issuers are not aware of. So let's get started. Now, it's as simple as making the call to your credit card issuer and asking for the reduction or the break. But this video, before you go and say, oh, that's too simple, no, we're going to go into some details and some things you need to prepare yourself before you do it, so you can get that reduction or so you can get that fee eliminated, because there's some things you want to do to prepare so you can increase your chance of getting that reduction. Okay, and we're going to share with you that, and some very important statistics you'll find very pretty powerful, that it does work. So like I said, most card holders don't know that they actually can ask for that reduction on your APR. So if you have business credit card debt right now, and you have, let's say, a 19%, 22% interest rate on your credit card, and you're trying to pay down that debt, we know balance transfer strategy is one option, getting a balance transfer credit card at 0% and transferring the balance. We talked about that in the previous video. But what if you can't do that? What if you don't get approved for the balance transfer card? What if you just want to lower your interest rate? So that's where this video is going to really help you. So does it really work, asking for a lower interest rate? Well, the interesting thing is, LendingTree did a survey on card holders, and of the 1,000+ card holders, 70% of those in the past year, this is 2022 by the way, of who asked for a lower APR, 70% got that lower interest rate. They had their lower interest rate reduced as much as almost 7%. So if you had a 20% interest rate credit card, and let's say you had $10,000 in debt, imagine dropping that to 13%. That's a big reduction. You're going to save on interest. You're going to pay down your debt much faster. Okay, so just that phone call, is that worth saving all that money on interest and paying down your debt faster and lowering your interest rate just by making a phone call? Of course it's worth it. So does it work? Absolutely. 84% of the people surveyed who asked for a higher credit limit in the past year got one. So these are huge facts during the survey that show you this strategy works, and it's very simple. 90% of the people who asked for an annual fee waiver or reduction got one. Okay, so if you have a credit card that's an annual fee, typically it's $100. Well, getting that waived, that's one phone call, you save $100. So that's really important that you have that ability to do that. 82% of the people who asked for a late payment fee waiver got one. If you ever got late, and that's a bad thing to avoid, but late fees can add up. So getting those fees waived is money you're saving. So this is just a fact and proof that this strategy works. So let's talk about lowering your existing APR on your business credit cards or your personal credit cards, because this applies to both. You could do it with either one or both. The first thing you want to do, of course, is evaluate and prepare. So what's your current credit card balance on the one you want to lower the APR? What's the interest rate that you have? What's the current balance that you have? Have you all your payments with that credit card issuer been on time? Have you been on time? Because it's important that these are things they're going to look up when you call. They want to make sure you made your payments on time. Is your credit report good? Because they may do a soft pull on your credit to see where's your credit at. Why are you asking for a lower interest rate? Are you coming from a position of strength? Because your biggest negotiation when you're calling your credit card issuer and asking for interest rates, not just asking them to do you a favor, it's you have to come from a position of strength, of leverage. So what's the thing you're going to present to them is that you have a competing offer. You have another bank that you're going to apply for that has a better interest rate, a comparable card, and you have great credit, so you know you can get approved. Because they may check your credit and see, do a soft pull and see, oh, yep, they have really good credit. They're probably going to get this card. The bank card issuers, the banks, they want you to keep your debt with them. Okay, so if by lowering your interest rate, if that's going to keep you as a customer as far as keeping your debt on that card, they're more than likely to reduce that interest rate if you're going to apply somewhere else and move your debt over. Okay, so you want to be prepared to present to them that you have a competing offer and you want them to match it. And you also want to note that when I talk about finding a competing offer, don't just say there's another card I want to apply for. No, you want to have the name of the bank that has that card, the specific card, what's the interest rate, what are the terms, so you can present that to your existing cardholder when you call them. Remember, you can always negotiate a lower interest rate on your credit card when you have good credit, when you have good payment history, when you have a nice relationship with that card issuer. Let's say you've been with them for, if it's a brand new card, 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years. If you have a long-standing relationship, that's another thing that weighs very positively when you call and ask for these breaks. Okay, so the next thing is you want to call and make the request. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through a sample script. But when you call and make this request, you're going to explain the reason for your call, okay? You want to be nice and polite. Remember, you don't want to be demanding. You don't want to be rude. Because remember, at the end of the day, the person you're talking to is another person, okay? So, you know, that could be the person who determines whether or not they're going to give you that reduction or not. They may have that power to do so, to give you a break on a card fee or reduce your interest rate. So you want to make sure that your alternative, your backup, is you're going to transfer the balance on your credit card to a competitor, and that's the cookie. That's the point of leverage that you're calling for, is that you have a competing offer. You don't want to have to move your credit card balance to another card issuer. You want to lower your interest rate. You want them to match it or beat that competing rate. Okay. Now you're not going to call and tell them I have a 19%. Let's say you have a 22% interest rate, and say, well, I could balance transfer over here at 0%. Can you match 0%? Okay, because they're not going to drop your 22% credit card rate to 0%. Okay, when I'm talking about competing offer, it's got to be a comparable card, but it's got to be a rate that's realistically where they may want to reduce it to keep your balance. Okay, because if you have a competing offer, let's say at 13%, and you have a 22% rate, they may match that 13% to keep your debt. Okay, so you want to present that competing offer. Make your case. You have good credit. You've been a good customer. You always pay on time. Now you may be saying, well, what if I've been late several times, or I have really bad credit? I'm trying to lower this interest rate. See, that's where it's going to be kind of tough for you because you're not coming from a position of strength. Okay, but can you ask? Sure, you can ask. Okay, there's nothing. The worst they can say is no. But if the customer service rep that you speak to just says, no, we don't do that, or they don't give you an explanation, then ask to speak to a supervisor or a manager, okay? Because your goal, don't just take no and say, okay, thanks anyway. No, you want to say, well, can I speak to a supervisor, please? And then make the case again. If they say no to you again, ask them why. Can I get an explanation why? And they'll probably explain to you why. Well, we noticed you've been late on this account, or let's say they did a soft pull on your credit. We noticed your credits dropped dramatically. I mean, have them give you an explanation. Ask them, well, what can I do? And ask them, what can I do to get this interest rate reduced? And maybe they'll give you some guidance on what to do next time you call. Okay? If your request is denied, remember, you can call back at a later date. So it's not no, it's no for now. It's not no forever. So this is something that's as simple as a phone call, but it could be well worth it for you if you could drop your interest rate a couple percentage points and you end up paying your debt down faster. Recommendation is to lower your rate after you at least 6 months of consistent payments on your card. Now, what does that mean? You don't want to call and ask for a lower interest rate if you just open a card, let's say, and there's no intro APR period of 0%, but let's say you got a 15% card or a 20% card, and you don't want to call within a month or 2 months saying, I want a lower interest rate. Okay, you want to at least have a track record that you've been managing this card responsibly. So wait at least 6 months before you call and request to have a lower interest rate. This is a sample script. Now, this is not word for word, but this kind of gives you a general idea. I've used your card for, let's say, 2 years. I've never missed a payment. I have really good credit. And I do have an offer from, let's say, Chase Bank for this Prestige card at 13% interest rate. And my rates right now is at 22%. I don't want to have to transfer my balance over to this other card, but I want to see if you can either match that offer or beat it. You know, and that's as simple as it goes. That's the request you're asking for, okay? So I want to just give you a quick example of what that could look like. Let's say you have a Bank of America business credit card with a $5,000 balance with a 20% APR. And then the competing offer, when you call Bank of America, you let them know, I have a competing offer from Chase at 13.49%. That's the APR. Can you beat it? And it doesn't mean you have to apply for the Chase card and then call your card. This is just you have the offer, but you haven't actually applied for it. Okay, and you don't want to tell them you haven't applied for it. Just say you have an offer. Okay, and you want them to beat it or match it. So let's say B of A. Obviously, they want you to keep. They want you to keep your $5,000 with them, so that they make money. That's how they make money, is on interest. You're at 19.99%. Let's say, you know what, we can beat that. We'll offer you 13%. And so they lower your rate to 13%. And they may lower it for a period of time. It may not be permanent. It may be for 12 months or it may be longer. If it's permanent, that's great, because then you now have a lower interest rate credit card. Okay, but let's say they lowered it to 13%. And now your Bank of America card is at 13% instead of 19.99%. You didn't open up this Chase card, okay? You just presented the offer. You did your research, right? Well, just keep in mind, just by that phone call, with $5,000 in credit card debt, and you're paying, let's say, the $250 a month minimum payment, you'll save almost $500 in interest just from making your minimum payment and just from reducing this interest rate, and you're going to pay off this card in 23 months instead of 25 months if you're just making that $250 a month payment on the card towards your debt. But you see, that one phone call, you save $500. But you may have cards that have a $10,000 balance or a $15,000 balance. So that adds up, folks. So that's why this is such a powerful strategy, and it's a very simple strategy, but it can help you pay down your debt much faster and help you save on interest. Okay, so what about business credit card and personal credit card fees that you have, like annual fees, etc.? Now, here's a survey done by the LendingTree. The survey they did is this kind of gives you an example of what are the types of breaks that cardholders are asking for in 2021 and now 2022. Okay, and you'll see the number one is waive late fees. A lot of people had late payments in 2021. Okay, now in 2022, that's dropped a huge amount, where less people are asking for a break on a late fee. So remember, these are breaks that you can ask for. It's not something that you can't do, and it's a free phone call, basically. Change payment due date. You'll see that it's pretty comparable right here, that people are asking to change the date. So if you have a business credit card or personal credit card, let's say your payment due date is on the 15th. But you wanna have a payment due date on the 25th. It'd be much easier for you, etc. You can always request to have that payment due date changed. Some people think they're just locked into it. That's a request you can make. Higher credit limit. This is really huge. We talked about that in the video, on the previous video, about increasing your credit limits. That's another way that you can not only lower your credit utilization, but it's also it's something you want to request if you've been using your card responsibly, paying your bills on time. etc. But when they ask for it, it's a large, it's a big ask that people are making, and they're getting it. They're getting these credit limit increases. Waive reduced annual fees, you'll see that, and all the other ones are pretty smaller. Waive cash advance fee. So we did talk about that last week, that when you do a cash advance, there's a fees. You can actually ask to have that waived, and even ask to have the balance transfer fee waived. So if you do a balance transfer, they typically charge 3%. So, that could be $300, $500 depending on how much you're going to balance transfer. But getting that balance transfer fee waived, that's a couple $100 you could save if they say yes. Okay, so that's pretty huge. Here's some of the fees that you can ask for a break on. Now, on the annual fee, just because they give you a break on the annual fee doesn't mean they're never going to charge you an annual fee again. They may just give you a break that year. Okay, but every year you can call and ask for a break. So, you may end up getting a no fee annual fee a couple of years if they always agree to it every year when you call and ask. Late fees, cash advance fees, balance transfer fee, foreign transaction fees. But remember, when you're calling to ask for a break from your credit card issuer for a fee, don't call and say, ask for multiple breaks. I want my annual fee waived. I want my late fee waived. I want my cash. So just select one fee that, and hopefully you're not incurring tons of fees anyway. But make sure you're only asking for a break for one specific fee. So this is the success rates, and this is based on the Lending Tree survey. But look how huge this is. This is really, really big when we talk about does it actually work. When people called and asked for their annual fee to be waived, 90 and 92% from 2021 and 2022, you're in the 90 percentiles that people got their annual fee waived. Okay? So higher credit limit, look at that, 83 and 84%. Okay, so that's huge. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with customers that call us that they've had business credit cards or personal credit cards for years, but they've never requested a credit limit increase. So they may have a credit card with a $1,500 or a $3,000 credit limit or $5,000 credit limit, and they've had for years. They've never requested a credit limit increase. So request those credit limit increases every 6 months if you're using the card responsibly, you're paying on time. But make sure you ask them, are they going to do a hard pull with the credit limit increase? Don't have them do a hard pull. If they do a soft pull, no problem, doesn't hurt your credit. Some card issuers will just do your account history. They'll look at your account history and determine that credit limit increase just that, based on that data. They won't even pull your credit. So just be aware of that when you request a credit limit increase. Now, your change payment due date, 73%, and you can see in this lower APR. In 2022, it's 70%. Now, why did that drop from 83 to 70? Because now they're getting a little, banks or card issuers may be not as generous as they were. Remember, because with inflation going on, etc., they may be constricting a little bit, but they're still giving those reductions. Okay, so this is available to you. So this is powerful, this data. So the bottom line with this video is the do's and don'ts. Number one, before you request a reduction on your APR, know your credit card balance, know what your payment history is with that card, know what the terms are, and have a competing offer. Don't call just saying, I'd like to get a lower interest rate, okay? And you make sure you check your credit, make sure your credit's really good, so you're coming from a position of strength. You don't want to call without being prepared and just checking to see if this works. Follow along with this because this is proven to work. And know what you're asking for and why you're asking for this, okay? Do speak to a manager if the initial rep that you talk to says no, or that they don't seem very helpful, or they don't even want to hear you out. So speak to a manager or supervisor. You have a right to ask for that. Don't settle for a flat no. Ask for an explanation of why and what you can do to get your APR lowered, okay? Be friendly and polite and easy to work with. Don't be rude or demanding, or be very truthful and sincere in what you're trying to do. Call again if they do happen to say no. If you're successful, let's say they do reduce your interest rate. Guess what? Call back in 6 months to ask for them to reduce it again. Okay, you can do that. Just because they reduce your interest rate one time doesn't mean that's it. You can always call and ask to have it reduced again. Okay, But don't give up after a single call. Okay, call again in a few later date and consider other options you may have, like we talked about a balance transfer card or transferring your balance to another card issuer. Because remember, we talked about if your card issuer doesn't want to lower your interest rate, okay, you could call another credit card that you have and ask them if you have a little to no balance. Ask them what type, can they offer you a balance transfer card? You're interested in transferring your credit card balance from another card to them, and they may offer you a 0% balance transfer for 12 months. So even though this bank, your one card turned you down for lowering your interest rate, the other bank said, yeah, we want your debt. We'll give you 0% for 12 months. Okay, so these are just things that you can do to creatively save money, lower your interest rates, and even maybe eliminate and get down to 0% APR using that balance transfer strategy that we talked about on the previous video. Okay, so if you found this information helpful, give us a thumbs up, please, and definitely hit subscribe. That way we're always notifying you of different strategies for building business credit, getting access to cash and credit for your company, whether you're a startup or existing business. And if you want to check out our products and services that we offer, check out Business Credit Builders with an S.org. We have a step-by-step business credit building system. We do business credit card funding, loans, lines of credit. Really appreciate you for listening to this video. We'll talk to you real soon, and you make it a great day.